Okay, today's class we're going to review the conversion factors. Each conversion factor in the metric system has a prefix that means a certain number. So for example, kilo, which is probably one of the most familiar ones, means times 1,000. So if you have a kiloton, you have 1,000 tons. If you have the word mega in front of the word, it means a million. So a megabyte means a million bytes. If you have a million trons, you have a megatron. The word for billion is giga, and it signifies 10 to the 9. And if you have a billion ligands, say if you're a chemist, you have a billion ligands on an island, you could call it Gigaligands Island. Tera is 10 to the 12, which is a trillion. If you have a trillion papers, you have a tera paper. If you have 10 to the 15, which is quadrillion, if you have a quadrillion dogs, you can call it a petadog. And the prefix for quintillion, which is 10 to the 18, is exa. So if you have a quintillion gyrations, you could call it an exaggeration. Or an exaggeration. Exaggeration. Hecto is a hectogram, 100 grams. Decameter is 10 meters. Decigram is a tenth of a gram. Centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. Now, of course, I'm using meters as the example here, but you could put any other unit in there, and it modifies the unit accordingly. Notice how from 1 to 1,000, it goes up in increments of 10. So deca is times 10, hecto is times 100, kilo is times 1,000, and thereafter it goes up by an extra 1,000 each time. If you want to make things 10 times smaller, you would say decigram, which means a tenth of a gram, centigram or centimeter for a 1/100th, milli for 1/1000th, micro for a millionth, nano for a billionth, pico for a trillionth, femto for a quadrillionth. So I said a billionth, a trillionth, quadrillionth, quintillionth, sextillionth, septillionth. You won't see these ones used very often, but it's never a bad idea to know about them. I worked through a few examples of conversion factors using these prefixes. So for example, how much is a picosecond? A trillionth of a second. 1.0 times 10 to the minus 12, or 1 trillionth of a second, is 1 divided by 1.0 times 10 to the 12 of a second. Or here's 1 trillionth of a second. You can see that it's much more compact to write it in scientific notation. If you're asked to convert 6.0 times 10 to the 3 meters into kilometers, you would divide by 1,000. Kilo is 1,000, and you would get 6 kilometers. If you were asked to convert 3.76 milligrams into grams, 3.76 milligrams divided by 1,000 milligrams per gram, notice how you write the conversion factor with 1,000 at the bottom, because you want to eliminate milligrams. You could also write the conversion factor the other way around, but then it wouldn't cancel. So you have to always choose which way to write the conversion factor to correctly get the math to work out. Because if you write it the other way around, you get an answer that's off by a factor of 1 million. You're supposed to be dividing by 1,000, but if you multiply by 1,000, it makes the number way, way bigger. So make sure you understand how to write the conversion factor in the correct configuration. So you see, we're trying to eliminate milligrams here, so milligrams has to be in the denominator to eliminate something that's in the numerator. And that's why the correct way to write it is 1 gram per 1,000 milligrams. Final answer would be 3.76 times 10 to the minus 3 grams is equal to 3.76 milligrams. Lastly, we have a complex conversion factor where you have to go through 2 steps because most people don't know how many femtograms there are in a kilogram. So the easiest way to do this is to go first to grams, which is the base unit. So 5.53 kilograms contain 1,000 grams per kilogram. That allows you to eliminate kilograms. So you get 5,530 grams in 5.53 kilograms. And then you reconvert back to femtograms by multiplying by, I think I have to double check whether F is the correct. Okay, yeah, it is the correct prefix for femtogram. So you would multiply then by 1.0 times 10 to the 15th, because a femtogram is times times 10 to the minus 15. Now, if you flip it over, it goes 10 to the positive 15. There are 1.0 times 10 to the 15 femtograms in 1 gram. So now with these two steps, you have converted 5.53 kilograms into femtograms. It's 5.53 times 10 to the 18. How do you get 10 to the 18? It's 10 to the 15 times 10 to the 3, excuse me, so that you get a total of 10 to the 18